Good Thursday morning from a breezy Bloomfield Cemetery. Today I'm putting the sign back up. I'm going to stain the frame, cross member, and the upright there to get them to match. Same color as the sign is now. Boom. Ready seal, pecan stain. First experience with pecan stain was down at the bell tower. Wanted something to mute the redwood fence boards down a little bit. So we went with this pecan stain. Did look really good. So mellowed out the redwood. Kind of has an older look to the boards now. I'm not necessarily shooting for that, but certainly want some protection. Give these guys some longevity. Wind has a little chill to it this morning. It's happy to see that somebody got down into the field, the park field, and did some mowing down there. This time of year is really tough to mow that area because of flooding. The tall grass. It's hard to get a tractor in there. Can't get a big tractor in there because it'll just sink and rut the field pretty bad. So I got to go with a light frame tractor, but it has trouble cutting through that stuff. It creates so much mulch, then it's like the second cut is much better, but there's so much mulch left over. Since I brought my tripod up here today, I thought about doing a short video down on Main Street. I don't know if I'll make that happen or not, but you know, the more I learn about old Main Street, it's just fascinating how people set themselves up in business. And you know how exciting that must have been. Not just for them, but for neighbors. You know, and somewhat of a pioneer living environment to have stores with goods become part of their neighborhood. The conveniences of that. And how exciting stuff like that. I don't know. It's exciting for me when I think about it. I hope it was exciting for them too. And then when Oliver Lefebvre would have some of his big dances, his balls, as they call them, the grand ball. I find it amazing that the dance floor was upstairs. And the dance floor at the Oddfellows Hall was upstairs. Yeah. Just thinking to get a lot of people up there, man, that's a lot of weight bouncing around up there. And when Isaac Marshall came out to build the Mason Lodge, Isaac Marshall, the builder out of Petaluma, builder and brickmaker. So he brings a crew of 8, 7 Chinese and 1 white man he rents 4 houses in town here, and then he makes 280,000 bricks. Where was that mill, Pug Mill, here in town to make all those bricks? He had rented these 4 houses for like 6 months, so he made the bricks and then burned the bricks right before they laid the cornerstone in September of 1876. So they lay the cornerstone. The building is finished by December 15th and celebrate its opening by December 15th, 1876. So, and I found out it was 280,000 bricks. Holy cow. Where? And then wherever he makes the bricks, they build essentially create a furnace out of the bricks they just made, and then burn to season them, harden them on the spot. So, but at the time, that parking lot, we all know the Mason parking lot, that had businesses there, so they couldn't use that space. And then I think, well, maybe they did it by the mill because the reservoir was across the street. No doubt he needed a lot of water in order to burn the bricks. And they had to be close by where he was going to build. Otherwise, that wouldn't have made sense. So there's plenty to learn there about that process. It's not practical to make 250,000 bricks in Petaluma and then wagon them out to Bloomfield, because otherwise he wouldn't have the people here already for months before the build. Someday I'm gonna find a photo of that lot with William Blake Wood's store, Charles Arthur's store, and then the Palmer's Tinsmith shop, all on that block. It's got to exist. Those guys made too much money to not have done a photo of their buildings and their business. Some of them got wiped out in fire, no doubt, Floods, yes, those two. And then, would I recognize it? In that one photo, the only one that I'm aware of so far, where the original 1876 Mason Lodge is just luckily photographed in the background of Lefevre's Big Valley house. There's some unique characteristics about the lodge, obviously, but the building, Charles Arthur's building next to it, looks like a single-story ironed front building that has light bulbs, or not light bulbs, but lamps on the front of the building. You can see the round orb lamps on the front of that building. So that was Charles Arthur's store before him and William Wood joined efforts, and then separated in 1867, Charles Arthur would lease that building to Charles Stewart. There's a lot of people in town named Charles. Charles Stewart Jr. and Charles Thomas Hall, which was the father of Charlie Hall, the guy whose name is down there on the bell tower. One of the three names down there on the bell tower. Charles Thomas Hall and Charles Stewart Jr., they ran the store next to where the Mason Lodge was built. And it looks like Charles Arthur held that property up till the time of his passing. Even though he's living in Point Arena at the time he passed away, he's buried here at the Bloomfield Cemetery with his wife and mother-in-law. Which is Val Stillwell's mom. Yeah, Charles Arthur married Val Stillwell's sister. So they have, and the way the cemetery worked back then, the original cemetery was the backside of Hitchcock's plot, draw a line straight across north and south. And then to the western fence line as it is today. And then when Horace Lamb passed away, his family donated the front half of the cemetery. So the original first burials were pretty much on the top of the hill where the water tower would later be located. So you got like a Buffington and his wife and kids were buried like 1 month after the opening in 1860. So Charles Arthur, he had a lot of children. Him and his wife had a lot of children who didn't live very long. So they are at the top of the hill. So once they bought the family plot to bury their children, and they lived their full lives, whether here or somewhere else, they would return to be buried with their family here at the Bloomfield Cemetery. So Charles Arthur continued to own that store, own the building, and it was sold after his passing. It seemed like the 1860, let's see, William Wood, who had the store, when he closed it down, his store was located on the lot where they built the Masonic Lodge. And he got rid of that store. Oh, let's see, they dissolved the partnership in 1866. He tried to lease or sell the store. And I don't know if he was successful or not on his building, but Charles Arthur was successful at leasing out his building to Charles Stewart Jr. and Charles Thomas Hall. And then they ran the store in the 1870s. But a lot of the articles talked about struggle that they were having. I don't know with what, but Charles Stewart would be the Wells Fargo agent and telegraph operator here in town in that building. the one with these lighting lenses or the orbs out on the front porch. So I trust if there were pictures that show the front, let's just say if the photograph was taken from Horace Lamb's place or Larkin Cockrell's place up by the Oddfellows building, looking back towards the area where the Masonic Lodge was going to be built, but the lodge wasn't built yet. If I would be able to recognize those buildings with the absence of the Mason Lodge. Although Oliver Lefebvre's hotel, yeah, I think I would be able to recognize as long as there's enough that's familiar in that photo. I've certainly done that when I'm looking through a lot of old historic photos, and I kind of get to one that is unidentified, and yet I do recognize some characteristics, especially like if it has hills in the background. Something just triggers in the memory, and I'm in no rush. I'll just sit there staring at it for a while and then kind of consider the possibilities. Then once I realize, like, oh, of course. That's how John Judson's home on the current Lepori Ranch. And I was sitting there staring at that building. Say, okay, I don't recognize the building, but I sure recognize that hill in the background. And the same with Obadiah Hogue when he lived off of Merchant Street. I never knew all those outbuildings and the old home. What I knew was built by Carvey, which was a modern home, but there was enough in that photo, even though it was unidentified, as West County Ranch. There was enough there that I just stared at it, and eventually it's like, I knew this place. It was taken down on Petaluma Valley Ford Road, looking up towards the cemetery, and it's like it all made sense. And those aha moments are very exciting. So today I'm staining this, gonna install the new sign, and then head down to the bell tower to check out. I sprayed Roundup a couple weeks ago. I haven't heard from anybody yet as to whether they want to eliminate the use of Roundup, so and if they want to step up and spray, some kind of recipe of weed killer that doesn't involve Roundup. I've heard of so many different ones. Some seem to work pretty good, others don't. But if someone wants to do that, then I would not put any more Roundup down there. And we haven't put Roundup up here in a long time. Not on purpose, it just worked out that way. Most everything we can mow and trim, and we don't have to worry about it coming back any faster than the grass does regular. Yeah, I don't care to do any large scale weed spraying. When we were kids, that's what happened up here a lot. I mean, there was like nothing, no grass at all. It was dirt, gravel, bare ground. So yeah, we don't care to do any of that. Well, this is going pretty good. Pretty good. I still have concern about those letters in the rain, so I'm glad that I didn't come up here last weekend and install it because there was more rain. Those last few days, I can see the ground is still wet here. All right. I do want to get a little hood or bonnet to kind of protect. Oh, I see I missed a spot down low. To protect some of the letters during the rainy season. You know. Wow. There's a few crows who chatting it up out here. I got a big spot here on the back side I missed. Bloomfield Cemetery. No better place to rest. No place quieter. No place more peaceful. All of that. Oh. This weekend is Easter, so I don't know if we're going to make it out here to work or not. It would be nice to get to mow the ball field, even though it would look kind of ratty. I think the flood waters in there have receded enough where it's just located in the northwest corner by the trees. We could mow everything else. Looks pretty good. First up, Bloomfield. I did bring replacement S hangers, but the two that were on there originally are still there. I lost these ones down into this bush right here, and because they're rust colored, I figured I would never find them, or I'll just have to take a long time to search. So I brought new ones. Although they're going to be kind of shiny. That's just the way it is. These S brackets seem a little beefier. So just the way it goes. I still don't have the numbers, the letters and the numbers for the date to put it on the board. But once I get them, I can get them painted up and then just bring them with me, install them here. You know what? If I recall, I gotta feed one of these ends. Okay, do it from that side. How about that? And this last hook, get it installed and then rotate. All right, cool. There she is. Yeah, that works. It's kind of mellow, muted, the colors. That's all right. I think that pressure treated boards will absorb the pecan stain and be a little more tan, sun bleached if it were, after a while. All right, stop the video here, take some stills, and head on down to the bell tower. At the bell tower, trees are all looking great. Come down here thinking that I was probably going to do a little bit of watering, but with the recent rain, the ground is still plenty wet. So I'll put down another application of round. This time of year is pretty magical here in Bloomfield. Everything's springing to life, including the weeds. First season for this gravel perimeter barrier seemed to hold up pretty good. I don't know if we had enough rain up here to cause severe flooding, but regardless, it took care of the place, much in the way I was hoping for. these weeds in the planter bed. I usually get down there and pull them, but I'm a little sore from working around my place. Replacing the carpet on my stairs, replacing it with engineered vinyl. I don't mind getting sore, but my rebound time seems to be increasing. So I'm trying to factor that in, this whole getting older process. Nothing says I gotta like the process. I just have to work with it. I remember a time where I'm sitting in Bob Mattery's living room and he just says, "I hurt all the time." I am sorry to hear that, Bob. And that made an impression on me. Maybe I can do whatever I got to do. And I notice time on the tractor when I get off, I need to intentionally stop like every couple hours and just hop off, move around. Because I get real stiff. I enjoy it, but I get stiff in my hips and upper leg. The boards have all gone to a light to medium brownish tan color. So I guess they'll probably get stained next year or a year after. We could probably do a pressure wash again on the whole structure. In the meantime, I think just using my blower will keep the cobwebs minimal, keep the dust down. It's always going to be dusty getting debris off of the road. That concludes my work in Bloomfield today. I look at the ball field on my way out and just note how much work it's going to be. Look at Main Street. It's got its survivors. Thank goodness. Would have been so wonderful to hear the hooves of horses and wagons going by and all the people chattering on Main Street, the excitement in the air. Yep. I can sometimes think it through, imagine it pretty good. Yes, while staying grounded. Fantasy only goes so far. Talk with you later.